Welcome to the Grab the Map podcast, where we don't just look at it, we grab the map. Briefly this week, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that has been very impactful on my own business. It's something that has begun to show tremendous results in my business, but also in my interactions and in my mindset. As those of you who have listened to the first few podcasts know, I'm a real estate investor, and I also like to educate other real estate investors. And I'm having a ton of fun getting some great results by buying rental properties and fixing them up when they're in a distressed state and renting them out to other people and making some money each month. You know what I've found as I do this is that there are not a lot of people who are doing it. We've talked before about how if it were easy, everyone would do it. But really, what I found sometimes is that it gets lonely being a real estate investor. There are not a lot of people who are actively doing deals. There are a lot of people who talk about doing deals. There are a lot of people who know that buying assets and establishing assets that cash flow on a monthly basis is the way to wealth. But there's just not a lot of people that are willing to sacrifice in order to make that happen. I talk to people all the time that are trying to get started for the very first time, and I help a lot of those people out. Those people are emailing me at grabthemap@gmail.com. And a lot of times I'll talk to them and we'll come up with a plan, but they don't always exercise that plan. They don't always put into action the things that we talk about. And I've been there. I've been that person who has a great idea and doesn't follow through with it. I've got a buddy right now that I associate with that is making a tremendous impact on what I do. He is one of the guys that I started a meetup with in Mississippi, where we get together and we talk about real estate investing. We talk about actively doing deals. We talk about struggles that we're having in our businesses, and we talk about things that are going on that would be for the benefit of the group. It's a small group of people, and we're trying to keep it that way because we really want to make connections and to get value from the experience. And what I've noticed about that group is that the more I network with folks with similar mindsets and with folks that are better than I am, the better I've been getting. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about this idea that your network influences your net worth. And I don't know exactly where that comes from. It did not start here on the Grab the Map podcast, but it started probably in a book I read or in a podcast I heard. And it has been truly, remarkably true for my business. It has been something that I think about frequently. It has been something that I intentionally have to make connections about. I've told you all before that I am an introvert. It's not easy for me to get out and mingle and talk to people and meet new people. But I intentionally try to connect with folks that are interested in doing deals. They email me at grabthemap@gmail.com, or we may connect at a meetup. We may connect as I'm looking for deals out in the field. And it is totally true that your net worth is influenced by your network. Your net worth is influenced by your network. What do I mean by your network? Your network are the people that you associate with frequently. These are the groups of people that you are influenced by, the people that you consult for advice. I like to think of this as the 5 people that you talk to the most and that you value and respect their opinion the most. And I heard an interesting quote from Warren Buffett, actually this month, in the month of August. And it goes like this. He answers a question by saying, well, it's a very important question. You will move in the direction of the people that you associate with, Buffett answers. So it's important to associate with people that are better than yourself. Now, mind you, Warren Buffett is one of the most accomplished investors, not real estate investors, not just real estate, but investors in the world. And here he even says that you will move in the direction of the people that you associate with, and that it's important to associate with people that are better than yourself. Well, this is hard, right? Like most of us want to be the top. We want to be at the top of our circle. We want to hang with a group of people that are doing about, what we're doing, or maybe a little worse, so that we can feel good and we can be happy with the progress that we're making. It's interesting, though, that Warren Buffett says this is not what we should be doing. Our network should be made of people that are already going in the direction that we want to go, or that have already reached the goals that we want to reach. How do you do this? Right? We're going to talk about that today in this podcast. But I want you thinking right now, I want you to do an exercise. And I want you to think right now about your network. Who do you talk to on a daily or weekly basis? Which of those people are influencing your decision making? Now, I'm not talking about podcasts that you listen to or books that you read. When I talk to you about your network, I'm talking about your human interactions on a daily or weekly basis. These are the people that have the most influence on your business, your personal life, your spiritual life. And I don't want you to immediately, because of this podcast, say, oh, well, these people are not, going the direction that I want to go. They don't have the net worth I think they should have. I just want you to ask 3 questions. Where are these people headed? Is that place a place where I want to head? And what is their net worth? Now, you can do this activity for all kinds of things. You can do this activity for financial benefit. You can do this activity for your spiritual benefit. You can do this activity for your relationship benefit. If you're not married and you want to get married, and you look in your circle and you say, who are the 5 people that I talk to the most? And you ask yourself, are they married? Are they about to get married or looking for marriage? And are they headed in a direction where I want to go? Could they influence me in a way that would get me towards that direction? And if the answer is no, there's some action that you should consider. You should consider, for all things, whether it be relationships, whether it be business, whether it be personal, whether it be financial, to consider having your network be influenced, right, by the ideals you have and where you want to go. If you want to be a real estate investor, then your network should include real estate investors. If you want to be a successful real estate investor, then your network should include successful real estate investors. If you want to be a millionaire, your network should include millionaires. But what most of us do is we have a network that includes people that are just like us or a little bit lower than us. And then we wonder why we cannot reach our goals. You ever wonder why celebrities often marry other celebrities, or why wealthy people often marry other wealthy people? I always used to ask that. Like, how did Jay-Z and Beyonce meet? Like, of all the people in the world, why Jay-Z and Beyonce meet and get married, and they're both have these hugely successful careers? Well, they were in the same network. They were in the same network. And we can influence our net worths by changing our network. And it doesn't require immediately cutting off everybody who's not, in our space where we want to be. But it does require a transition. It requires us to think, maybe the people in my circle are not headed in the direction that I want to head. And maybe I should gradually change the circle of people that are influencing my net worth. What does this look like? Well, me and my buddies, we started a meetup, and we said, hey, let's look, we want to be around more real estate investors. So find a real estate meetup in your area if you want to be a real estate investor. Find other married guys if you want to be a married guy. Find other healthy guys if you want to be a healthy guy. or gal. And if you want to be something, find a network, create a network, and spend time with those people. What happens when you do this? Well, what happens when you spend time with millionaires is you learn how they think. You learn what they think about the barriers that you think are barriers. I was with a group of millionaires this past month, sitting in a room with them, and I said, man, I've been buying a lot of houses. I wonder if I'm buying too much too soon. And I've really been thinking about this. I've really been thinking, well, maybe I need to slow down and buy fewer houses. And one of them said, you could never buy too much real estate. And he proceeded to tell me that if it cash flowed, meaning that the house made more money for me in a month than it cost me, I could never buy too much real estate. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I only buy properties that cash flow. I only buy properties that make more money every month than they cost me. And so he was saying that if you're sure that that's what's happening, that you keep buying those properties and you won't have a problem. And instantly some relief came over me because this guy's in my network and this guy just influenced my mentality. He just influenced the way that I think and the way that I think about barriers to my business. That's what network can do for you. Put people in your circle that can influence the way that you think. You know, when we started this meetup, it was not our intention to create financial benefit for anyone that started the group. But there are a couple of guys in the meetup that have made thousands of dollars off of interactions with each other. Just myself. In that group, I found a private lender who's helped me do some business. I've also found a business partner to do new construction with. I've also found guys who I can call and say, hey, do you think this is a deal? What do you think about this deal? And in that meetup, there are guys that have partnered together to do new construction of their own. There are guys that have partnered together to do property management business. There are new people in there who have got confidence about how to find money and how to utilize lenders to their benefit. It's just been great. And that, again, is our network, okay, influencing the net worth of members of that group. So to keep our podcast at a place where you can digest it, I want to encourage you to take 3 actions today. Number 1, do the exercise I talked about at the beginning of this podcast and consider who is in your network, okay? I want you to consider who is in your network. And then after that, I want you to think about whether or not that there needs to be a transition between what your network currently looks like and what it should look like based on what you're trying to go. In the next 20 years, I personally want to own $50 million in real estate. That is a goal that I have set for myself. It's a very personal goal, but I share it on this podcast because I want to be held accountable for it. And in order for me to reach that goal, I'm going to have to change my network and transition it slowly from what it is right now. The 5 people that I talk to the most generally right now own between $5 and $15 million worth of real estate. Well, why am I talking to those people? Because right now I own less real estate than that. And those people are better than where I'm at right now. But I recognize that to transition to owning $50 million in real estate slowly, I'm going to have to transition that group, that network, into people that own more real estate. Now, some of the people in my current network will grow their portfolios and end up being those people that are in my network then. But I shouldn't be talking to people who are not consistently, okay? I'm not saying you can't have some relationships where people aren't real estate investors or where people aren't millionaires or whatever. I mean, you have relationships with people, all kinds of different people, for all different kinds of reasons. And money is not the only reason to have relationships with people. But going back to saying that if you have the goal of increasing your net worth, then you should not be getting advice on how to manage your money or how to invest from people that are not actively investing. You should not be relying on the opinion of people who have tried and failed, people who are too scared to get off of the fence, or people even that are still struggling to get their beans together so that they can get started. At some point, you have to transition your network. So that's the second thing I want you to do, is to consider your network and consider whether or not there needs to be a transition. Third, I want you to email me at grabthemap@gmail.com. Why? Because I want to become a part of your network. I'm a real estate investor and I actively buy rental properties. I actively buy distressed properties and fix them up and rent them out. I'd love to become a part of your network. Why? Because I'm actively trying to increase my net worth. And by helping you, I'm hoping that I can influence your net worth and that you can influence mine. Isn't that what this is all about? So I want you to have a great day. This has been John Crutchfield on the Grab the Map podcast, where we don't just look at it, we grab the map.